Yo guys, what is good? It's Cameron, aka Cam, in the building scene. Boo! Before we get into the video, if you guys could smash that like and subscribe button, I would really appreciate it. Simple. But today we're going to be reacting to why Shanks is the god of war and justice. I just wanted to watch this video, so I was like, why don't we watch it together? Now that's crazy. Now you guys know I love One Piece. If you guys subscribe to my channel, I've been using the One Piece instrumentals recently. I've only watched all the dubbed episodes. I don't watch subbed, okay? English only gang. But either way, guys, let's just check this out. Shanks is a bit of a beast. So let's just watch this together.
The myth, the legend, Red Hair Shanks, and his purpose in the story of One Piece.
Just to be an overall god.
Fair to say that Shanks is one of the most liked.
When I saw this scene, bro, Shanks was like, "Oh my god, let me find out. This guy's a true god."
Polls that were conducted until today, Shanks always easily placed within at least the top 15. To put this into perspective, on average, Shanks is more popular than Usopp, Brook, or even Frankie.
I agree with that.
Which have been an active part of the story for hundreds of chapters. Shanks, meanwhile, is mentioned in less than 30 chapters and appears in less than 15.
Because Shanks is just a beast and he's hella humble. And obviously he like raised Luffy. Well, not really, but like
his lack of screen time, it's relatively
he changed
easy to
Luffy.
see what makes Shanks so fascinating. Oda portrays the Yonko as a charismatic leader that, despite his goofy and oftentimes easygoing nature, is respected and feared throughout the world and is one of the most influential players there. At the same time, the quite rare occasions his name is dropped and the even rarer appearances he actually has shroud his character in a sense of mystery and uncertainty. This extremely appealing
I remember this scene, it was near the start, but I don't really think too much of it. It is
true role in the story. Is he actually a celestial dragon? Will he die at the hands of Blackbeard? Or will he ultimately turn out to be the main villain of the story after all? What will this mysterious and legendary pirate that we've known since the very first chapter of the story actually be doing in the end? In this video, we will answer all of these questions. Because if you look closely enough at how Oda is placing Shanks in the story, it becomes clear that the Yonko is presented as something that you could call the secret guardian of the One Piece world. This can be seen in his strikingly pacifistic nature, his unique and inherent goodness among the Yonko, as well as in his undeniable ties to Nordic mythology and lore. Once we'll have looked at these three factors, at the end of this video, we'll be able to see clearly what role Shanks actually plays in the story. So grab yourself some coffee, because we have to talk about—
Don't get coffee, guys, get water. Hydrate yourself. You already know. You already know!
When you hear the word pacifist, the first thing you probably think about in the context of One Piece are the pacifista created by Dr. Vegapunk. However, when we look at the definition of pacifism, it becomes relatively clear that something went horribly wrong with the world government's naming scheme here. Because a pacifist, per definition, is a person who believes that unnecessary war and violence are unjustifiable. Not exactly fitting when you look at whatever this is. Now with Shanks, on the other hand, this is a completely different story. He is a true pacifist that tries to avoid unnecessary conflict and violence if in any way possible. This is even acknowledged by the gorosei, who state that he's not the type of person that would see chaos and disorder. However, that of course does not mean that Shanks does not enjoy some friendly sparring here and then, as he clearly does with Mihawk or against the Whitebeard pirates as a rookie on Roger's ship. However, compared to—
Bro, that was crazy. Is Shanks took on Mihawk with one arm. With a sword, bro, what?
Most other pirates,
that's crazy!
To Luffy, Shanks doesn't seem to have any interest in pointless cruelty or bloodshed. But I believe that it goes even further than this. Shanks seems to have an active interest in keeping the quite fragile balance of the One Piece world alive.
And Mihawk's one, like, he's probably the strongest Seven Warlords, right?
Or whenever he expresses his deep worries about Blackbeard. In this context, one of Shanks' most stunning skills that he rarely gets any credit for is his deep understanding of diplomacy. None other than Shanks is able to stop a war between the Marines and another Yonko, or get a private audience with the Gorosei, all while being one of the most notorious criminals on the planet. But we can
Maybe I
also
haven't
see
seen
this
that
sort of
scene.
de-escalating
I remember when he
effective
walks in. Oh
diplomacy
no,
in
maybe that
other
was
instances
Mihawk.
as well. For example, his meeting with Whitebeard to discuss the danger of Blackbeard, or his notoriously forgiving attitude towards Higuma, a mere mountain bandit from the East Blue that tried to humiliate him in front of his men. And maybe he even managed to find a diplomatic solution in his encounter with Kaido, where he...
I wonder if he was a what are the four? They're not warlords. Well, whatever Whitebeard and Shanks is, I wonder if he was one of them then, and if he had that crazy what's that ability they all have where he puts everyone to sleep? Because I haven't watched One Piece in a while, but I wonder if he had Spirit of the Conqueror. I wonder if he had a crazy Spirit of the Conqueror then, and if he could have just put them all to sleep.
After Whitebeard, and
I wonder.
afterwards arrives at Marineford without so much as a scratch.
It's entirely possible that
What all of these examples clearly show us, however, is how averse Shanks truly is to unjust bloodshed and unnecessary violence. However, as we all know just too well, Shanks also has another side. Whenever his ideals and values are being threatened, Shanks is ready to take up arms and deliver justice. Notoriously, of course, we can see this once Higuma actually takes things a little bit too far and kidnaps and threatens Luffy. Or when arriving at Marineford, Shanks is prepared to face Akainu and the Marines head-on should they refuse to lay down their weapons, and everyone is more than reluctant to test him and his crew. This could even have played a role in his encounter with Kid, where the supernova lost an arm to the Yonko. Given his character, it's entirely possible that Kid did something so unjust or cruel that Shanks saw it necessary to bestow justice upon him. This striking
Shit, I don't remember
duality
who that
of
is.
diplomatic
I
pacifism
recognize
and
him, but
unwavering justice
I don't
are a
recognize him.
defining part of Shanks' character. But to truly understand this unique position of his in the world of One Piece, we of course also have to understand his equally unique standing among the Yonko.
What does
There
he keep
are a
calling
number
pirates,
of
Yonko?
things that make Shanks the odd one out when it comes to his membership within the four strongest and most feared pirates. For instance, as far as we know, he's the only one of the four that is not commanding an entire fleet, and we're also yet to come across any island that stands under his protection or rule. Also, Shanks is the only one that evidently has not eaten any devil fruit, and weirdly enough, he's also the only one not associated with the Rocks Pirates in any way, with Big Mom and Kaido being former members, and Blackbeard having served on Whitebeard's crew, as well as naming his ship after him. I feel like this already tells us quite a lot about him, as he's also the only Yonko that has never opposed Luffy and has no interest in gaining more power, nor in becoming Pirate King. In more than just one way, it doesn't take a lot of deep analysis to come to the conclusion that Shanks is the only emperor that can be considered to be quote-unquote
The
good.
emperors,
at this
yeah,
point in the
that's
story.
it.
He was the one inspiring Luffy to become a pirate and setting out to
Oh,
sea,
I call Whitebeard
believing
good.
that he will be the one to change the world one day for the better. His attempts to keep Blackbeard and Kaido at bay suggest to us that Shanks sees himself as a sort of counterweight to the other Yonko to maintain stability in the world. Using his power and staying true to his theme of war and justice, Shanks works to protect the world by ensuring a stability and balance between all the forces at work there. Whether he does so to even the way for Luffy, or to follow some other objective, we'll have to wait and see. However, Oda might have left us a couple of major hints
I don't really know anything about
towards
his career.
what Shanks'
He has,
storyline is moving towards. And these
what's his
hints
name?
can be
Usopp's
found in the
father in his
close
crew, right?
connection that he has to Nordic mythology.
Oh my days, you're hitting me with that,
My
but don't
goodness.
worry.
Oh dear. Poor darlings. There's only one way to groom your balls. Introducing man.
Don't worry, guys. I'm
In
letting
Nordic
my man get the
There
bag.
exists the legend
He
of
made a great
Tyr,
video.
the god of war and justice that once ruled over the other gods before Odin. When the giant wolf Fenrir, son of Loki, was prophesied to kill Odin, the gods took him to Asgard and attempted to bind and control him. Fenrir, however, whom they told it would be a mere test of his strength, would only permit them to put the chains on him if one of them were to be willing to put his arm between his fangs as insurance. Now, none of the gods were willing to do so, except for Tyr, who strode forward and placed his arm in the wolf's mouth. Once Fenrir had actually realized that he could not escape, he bit off Tyr's arm, who thus managed to uphold justice and order at the same time.
Oh, that's crazy.
Does this sound familiar yet? However, the similarities do not end here. Shanks and Tyr both are renowned for their swordsmanship, their sense of justice, as well as their red hair. And not for nothing does Shanks sail on a Viking ship. I think it's pretty likely that Oda has borrowed at least some inspiration for Shanks' character from this Nordic god.
Really?
And interestingly enough, Tyr has been prophesied to be killed by Grummer at Ragnarok, the great battle to end the era of the gods. Grummer is a huge hellhound, often depicted with 3 heads. And I think you know where I'm going with this, but Blackbeard and Shanks have long been set up to clash at some point in the future.
I haven't watched
and there
this,
simply are so many
I'm not that deep.
similarities here. Shanks was the first one to take Blackbeard
I know about
very
Blackbeard.
seriously very early on.
Blackbeard just kind of took
what's
his name's
when
power,
they first met as
Whitebeard's power.
apprentices on Roger's and Whitebeard's ship. He later encountered him again at some point, where he was dealt the scar across his eyes. And finally, he's the one to urge Whitebeard and possibly even the Gorosei to take Teach more seriously. Thematically, this storyline would fit perfectly. And we also know that Elbaf is heavily inspired by Nordic culture and mythology as well, with all the Viking themes going around there. And when we meet the very first giants in the story on Little Garden, Dori and Broggy, they say the following to Usopp. When there's a dispute and neither side will yield, the god of Elbaf decides the matter. Our god protects the one who's right and lets him live. Could Shanks possibly not only be inspired by the god of war and justice, but actually be considered a true god by the people of Elbaf? This is not a theory video, but I feel like I should be throwing this out there as well, and I'll leave the speculation to you guys.
That's crazy.
The main takeaway here is that Shanks has not been designed as this powerful warrior of justice on a mere whim, but rather Oda seems to have drawn some deep inspiration from Nordic mythology. No matter what his story is going to look like in the end, I think it's obvious that Oda has introduced Shanks right from the start as the hidden protector of the One Piece world for a reason. Whether he's
We're gonna love
Luffy
Shanks.
or
There's
Joy Boy
nothing
to
not to
change
like
the
about
world,
Shanks.
preparing for his final battle,
Except for the fact that he
Blackbeard,
could be
or
way more of a
ultimately
beast than
having
he
an
is.
entirely different objective. Fact is, with Shanks, Oda has created one of the most exciting characters in anime. And that with barely giving us more than a handful of information.
He's just like one of those people who's like,
without
come
any
on, do
doubt,
more,
we will
please.
still get to
Please
see
do
great
more.
things
He
from him.
leaves you
And
wanting to
who
see more.
knows? Maybe he'll turn out to be a true god of war and justice after all. That's it for today, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and if you want to keep
Guys, I yawned like 5 times that video because I'm tired. But if you guys enjoyed the video, smash that like and subscribe button. You guys already know the deal. Bang a video by O'Hara. You get that like and subscribe, my guy. So if you guys could smash that like and subscribe button, I would really appreciate it. And I'm out. See ya.